The moment you stop chasing, you start rising. The moment you give yourself space to breathe, the world starts to notice the air you command. When you step back, you don't disappear. You become the space that others can no longer ignore. For years, perhaps for your entire life, you have operated under a silent, exhausting assumption that to be valued, you must be visible. To be loved, you must be available. To be respected, you must constantly prove your worth. You have been running a marathon with no finish line, chasing a validation that seems to recede with every step you take. You are the one who texts first, who calls back, who fills the uncomfortable silence. You are the one who over-explains, who justifies your needs, who apologizes for having boundaries as if they were an inconvenience to others. You show up, you contribute, you give, and you give more. Believing that the sheer volume of your effort will one day be recognized, tallied up, and rewarded with the respect and appreciation you so deeply crave. And what has it gotten you? You are left feeling like a ghost in your own life, present in every room, yet truly seen by no one. You are the reliable one, the constant, the bedrock. But the problem with being the bedrock is that people forget you are there. They walk all over you not out of malice, but out of the simple, crushing reality of human nature. We take for granted that which feels permanent and endlessly available. Your constant presence has become background noise. Your unwavering availability has become an expectation, not a gift. You have made yourself so accessible that you have inadvertently erased your own value. This is the great paradox of presence. You believe that by being everywhere you would become everything to someone. Instead, you have become part of the furniture. This is not an indictment of your character. It is a testament to your heart. But it is time to understand that the strategy you have been using is fundamentally flawed. It is built on a misunderstanding of human dynamics and, more importantly, a misunderstanding of your own inherent worth. The act of chasing is a silent negotiation in which you have already offered to settle for less. When you chase someone for their attention, their approval, their love, you are sending a powerful, subconscious message: my value is not self-evident. It requires your validation to be activated. I do not believe I am enough on my own, so I must perform, persuade, and pursue you to convince you of my worth. It is a position of supplication, not strength. It is a quiet declaration that their presence in your life is more important than your own peace. Think about the fundamental law of value: scarcity. A diamond is precious not because it is merely a stone, but because it is rare. A masterpiece is priceless, not just for its beauty, but because it is one of a kind. Your time, your energy, your focus, your heart, these are not renewable resources. They are the most finite and precious assets you will ever possess. Yet, you have been giving them away as if they were infinite, distributing them freely to those who have not shown they understand their value. By making your most precious assets commonplace, you have stripped them of their perceived worth. The chase is an energy drain of cosmic proportions. It consumes your thoughts, dictates your moods, and depletes your spirit. Every unanswered text, every unreciprocated effort, every moment spent wondering why you are not enough, it is a small withdrawal from your soul's bank account. Over time, you end up overdrawn, running on fumes, wondering why you feel so empty while you have given so much. You become a shadow of the vibrant, powerful person you were meant to be. Your light dimmed by the constant struggle for a reflection in someone else's eyes. But what if you just stopped? What if for one day you did not initiate the conversation? What if you let the silence hang in the air instead of rushing to fill it? What if you invested all the energy you spend on chasing others and poured it back into the most important project you will ever work on: yourself? This is not a call to become cold, distant, or manipulative. This is not about playing games. This is a call for a quiet revolution. It is the act of reclaiming your center of gravity. It is the decision to stop being a satellite orbiting someone else's world and to remember that you are a star in your own right, with your own light and your own gravitational pull. The moment you stop chasing, the dynamic shifts. Your silence becomes a statement. Your absence creates a void. And in that void, others are finally forced to confront what they took for granted. They will feel the space you used to fill. They will notice the energy you used to provide. They will be met with the echo of their own expectations, and for the first time they will have to ask themselves a question: where did you go? They will begin to understand that your presence was never a given. It was a choice. Your support was never an obligation. It was a gift. In your absence, they are given the opportunity to finally appreciate your presence. This is the beginning of your ascent. It starts not with a loud declaration, but with a quiet retreat. It starts with the profound and powerful decision to let them miss you so you can finally find yourself again. Before we explore how to build the unshakable foundation for this new way of being, I want you to sit with this idea. Think of one relationship, one situation, one area in your life where you have been chasing. Feel the exhaustion of that pursuit. Now, visualize yourself simply standing still, turning your focus inward, and breathing. That feeling that is the beginning of your power. We are obsessed with the currencies of the world. We track money, we measure success in material wealth, and we dedicate the majority of our waking lives to the pursuit of financial security. Yet, we remain recklessly careless with the only true currency we are ever given, the one currency that cannot be earned, inherited, or replenished: time. Every second that passes is a coin spent from a finite inheritance, a withdrawal from an account that only ever depletes. And once it is gone forever. It is time to start thinking of your life in these terms. Imagine, at the moment of your birth, you were handed the keys to a celestial bank account. This account isn't filled with dollars or gold. It is filled with seconds, billions of them perhaps, but a finite number nonetheless. Every single thing you do, every worry, every laugh, every argument, every act of service, every moment of mindless scrolling is a transaction. You are constantly spending your time. The most critical question then is not how much time you have, but how you are investing it. For too long, you have been an unconscious spender. You have treated your time like pocket change, giving it away to anyone who asks, spending it on anxieties that yield no return, and investing it in people and situations that are emotional black holes. Draining your account without offering a single deposit of joy, growth, or reciprocity. You say yes when your soul is screaming no. You attend the meeting that could have been an email. You give an hour of advice to someone who will never take it. You spend days agonizing over the opinion of a person you will not even remember in a year. These are not just small moments, these are withdrawals. They are pieces of your life that you are giving away, often for nothing in return. Now, let's be clear. This is not a call to a life of selfish isolation. Giving your time to others, to a cause, to love, is one of the most beautiful investments you can make. But a healthy investment implies a return. The return doesn't have to be transactional or immediate, but it must nourish you in some way. It can be a return of joy, of connection, of purpose, of growth, or of simple peace. The problem arises when you are making constant, significant withdrawals from your account to fund ventures that are emotionally bankrupt, leaving you with nothing left for yourself. This is how you end up feeling exhausted, resentful, and utterly depleted. You have given everything away, and now your own account is overdrawn. The way the world treats your time is a direct reflection of the price tag you have placed on it. You are the one who sets its value. If you treat your time as if it were a clearance item, always available, easily accessible, and endlessly discounted, then do not be surprised when the world treats it as cheap. If you are always the one to drop everything for someone else's minor inconvenience, you silently communicate that your own plans, your own peace, and your own priorities are secondary. You teach people that your time is infinitely interruptible. You teach them that you have nothing better to do. This is not their fault. It is a standard you have set. They are simply responding to the signals you have been sending for years. When you answer a text at midnight, you signal that your sleep is not sacred. When you immediately agree to a last-minute request, you signal that your personal time is unplanned and up for grabs. When you consistently put their needs before your own, you signal that your needs do not matter as much. They are not bad people for believing you. They are simply human. They are following the rules of engagement that you yourself have written. It is time to write new rules. Starting today, you must become the fierce, vigilant guardian of your own time. You must become a conscious, intentional investor. Before you make a withdrawal, before you say yes, you must learn to pause and ask yourself a new set of questions. 1. Is this an investment or an expense? Will this transaction lead to growth, joy, or connection? Or will it simply drain my resources? Is this exchange reciprocal? Am I pouring my energy into a person or situation that also pours back into me? Or am I the sole financier of this relationship? 3. What is the opportunity cost? By saying yes to this, what am I implicitly saying no to? Am I saying no to rest? To my own passion project? To time with my loved ones? To the silence my soul desperately needs? Treating your time as precious is not an act of arrogance. It is an act of profound self-preservation. It is the understanding that you cannot pour from an empty cup. By safeguarding your time and energy, you ensure that when you do choose to give, you are giving from a place of abundance, not depletion. The time you give becomes more valuable, more potent, and more meaningful because it is a conscious choice, not a mindless habit. When you start valuing your time, the world around you will recalibrate. People will notice the shift. They might not understand it at first. Some may even resist it. But they will learn the new rules. They will learn that your time is a privilege, not a right. They will learn to respect your boundaries because you have finally learned to enforce them. They will start to appreciate the moments they do get with you, knowing that those moments are a deliberate investment from your precious account. Your absence will teach them to value your presence. Your unavailability will teach them to respect your availability. This is not about cutting people off. It is about choosing what and who aligns with your most profound values. It is about understanding that your life's currency is not something to be squandered. It is your legacy, your potential, your very being, measured out in seconds and minutes. This is the first, most tangible act of self-respect. It is the foundation upon which your new reality, your new self, and your new relationships will be built. You have stopped the chase. Now, you must learn to protect the resources you have reclaimed, because how you manage your time is ultimately how you manage your life. If valuing your time is the first practical step you take, then self-respect is the solid ground upon which you stand to take it. You cannot consistently protect your time, enforce your boundaries, or stop the chase without it. To attempt to do so would be like building a house on sand. The first wave of guilt, the first pushback from someone who misses the old you, the first whisper of self-doubt, and your entire structure will collapse. Self-respect is the most misunderstood and yet the most vital component of a powerful life. We often confuse it with its noisy, arrogant cousins, ego and pride. But self-respect is not loud. It does not boast. It has no need to announce its presence. Ego is the desperate desire to be seen as better than others. Pride is the refusal to admit a mistake. Self-respect, however, is a quiet, internal, and unshakable knowledge of your own inherent worth, a worth that is completely independent of external validation, praise, or criticism. It is your North Star. It is the silent, powerful force that shapes how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, and, most importantly, how you allow others to interact with you. It is not something you can buy or be given. It is a fortress you build within yourself, brick by brick, with every choice you make that honors your soul. Think of it as your ultimate personal currency, more valuable than any money in your bank account. Unlike wealth, it cannot be stolen from you by force. It can only be given away, and you have been giving it away for free every time you have tolerated disrespect. Every time you have silenced your own voice to keep the peace. Every time you have accepted less than you deserve in a relationship, a job, or from yourself. Each time you said yes when you meant no, you handed over a piece of this sacred currency. Each time you let a boundary be crossed, you allowed a thief into your inner fortress. Without self-respect, you are a ship without a rudder, adrift on the chaotic sea of other people's opinions and demands. You fall into patterns of mistreatment, not because you are weak, but because you lack the internal compass to navigate away from them. You might tolerate a partner's dismissive comments, a friend's one-sided demands, or a boss's unreasonable expectations because, on some deep, subconscious level, you do not believe you are worthy of more. You find yourself accepting scraps of affection when you deserve a banquet of love, accepting silence when your voice needs to be heard, because the absence of self-respect creates a vacuum that you allow the world to fill with its own agenda. But the moment you choose to prioritize self-respect, everything shifts. It is not a gradual change, it is a seismic event. You begin to see yourself not through the distorted lens of your past wounds or other people's judgments, but through a lens of clarity and grace. You start to understand that your imperfections do not diminish your worth. They are part of your unique human tapestry. To build self-respect is to stand firm in your truth, even when your voice shakes. It is to own your mistakes without letting them define you. It is to understand that you are worthy of kindness, consideration, and love, not because of what you do, but because of who you are. This isn't about striving for a flawless existence. True self-respect is not about being perfect. It is about being authentic. It is about looking in the mirror and, instead of cataloging your flaws, making a quiet, powerful promise to the person looking back. I will not betray you. I will not abandon you. I will honor you. When you carry yourself with this energy, the world cannot help but respond. People can sense it. It is a silent confidence that speaks louder than any words. They begin to learn how to treat you by observing how you treat yourself. The standard you set for yourself becomes the standard they must meet to remain in your life. You stop chasing people who fail to see your worth because your own self-respect makes their validation irrelevant. You stop overextending yourself to prove a point to those who will never appreciate you because you are no longer seeking their approval. Your focus shifts from being liked to being aligned. You dedicate your energy to pursuits that feed your soul, not drain it. You choose to be around people who lift you up, not those who weigh you down. This isn't about cutting everyone off. It is about curating your life with the same care you would use to curate a sacred space. This is the foundation. Every other action we will discuss, setting boundaries, the power of absence, the art of being chosen, is an expression of this core principle. Before you can build the walls, you must lay the cornerstone. And that cornerstone is the non-negotiable, unwavering, and profound respect you hold for yourself. It is the quiet engine of your transformation, the source of all your power to come. If self-respect is the foundation of your inner fortress, then boundaries are its walls. They are not walls of aggression designed to shut the world out. They are not impenetrable barriers born of anger or fear. Think of them instead as the walls of a beautiful, sacred garden. They are gentle, yet firm. Their purpose is not to punish those outside, but to protect the precious life that grows within. That life is your peace, your energy, your sanity, and your sense of self. Without these walls, your garden will be trampled, its resources depleted, and its beauty overrun by the carelessness of the outside world. For too long, you have lived in a garden with no fences. You have allowed anyone and everyone to wander in, pick your flowers, take your fruit, and leave their trash behind. You did this out of a deep-seated desire to be seen as kind, accommodating, and selfless. You were taught that a good person is a person who always says yes, who is always available, who never causes a ripple. And so, you equated the word boundary with selfishness. You feared that by building a wall, you would be seen as difficult, unloving, or mean. Let us dismantle that lie right now. Saying no is not a selfish act. It is a necessary act of self-preservation. It is an acknowledgement that your resources, your time, your emotional energy, your mental capacity are finite. You cannot be everything to everyone and still have anything left for yourself. An airplane safety briefing tells you to put on your own oxygen mask before helping others. Why? Because if you run out of oxygen, you are of no use to anyone. Your boundaries are your oxygen mask. They ensure that you have enough life force to not only survive, but to thrive, and to give to others from a place of genuine abundance, not resentful obligation. Every time you say no to something that does not serve you, you are saying a powerful, resounding yes to yourself. Asterisk. When you say no to working late on a project that can wait until tomorrow, you are saying yes to your rest and well-being. Asterisk. When you say no to a friend who constantly uses you as an emotional dumping ground without ever asking how you are saying yes to your own mental health. Asterisk. When you say no to a social gathering that you know will drain your spirit, you are saying yes to your peace and solitude. Asterisk. When you say no to taking on a responsibility that isn't yours, you are saying yes to your own priorities and goals. This is not selfish, this is strategic, this is wise, this is the very definition of self-care. Building these walls will feel uncomfortable at first. It will feel foreign and jarring, especially if you have spent a lifetime being a people pleaser. Your muscles for saying no are atrophied. You will feel a surge of guilt. You will worry about disappointing people. You will be tempted to revert to your old ways just to keep the peace. This is the most critical moment. You must hold the line. The resistance you face from others is a litmus test. The people who truly value and respect you may be surprised by your new boundaries at first, but they will adapt. They will learn to honor your limits because they honor you. They will understand that your no is not a rejection of them, but a protection of yourself. However, the people who have benefited from your lack of boundaries will protest. They will call you selfish. They will accuse you of changing. They may try to manipulate you with guilt or passive aggression. Listen carefully. Their reaction is not a reflection of your character. It is a reflection of their own. They are not angry that you have boundaries. They are angry that they can no longer use you. Their protest is the clearest sign that the boundary was desperately needed. Their resistance is the validation that you are doing the right thing. So, how do you begin to build these walls? You start small. You do not need to build a great wall overnight. Start with a single brick. Asterisk. Practice the pause. When someone asks for something, your automatic response might be yes. Train yourself to pause. Say, let me check my schedule and get back to you, or let me think about that. This small gap gives you the space to consciously decide rather than reactively agree. Asterisk, be clear and kind, but firm. You do not need to offer a long, convoluted excuse. A simple, I'm sorry, I won't be able to do that, or my plate is too full right now, is sufficient. You are not required to justify your no. The more you explain, the more you invite negotiation. Asterisk, know your limits before you are tested. Take some time to understand your own capacity. How much social interaction can you handle before you feel drained? How many extra tasks can you take on at work before your performance suffers? When you know where your fences should be, it is easier to build them. Asterisk, forgive yourself for the guilt. The feeling of guilt will come. Expect it, acknowledge it, and then gently let it go. Remind yourself that prioritizing your well-being is not a crime, it is a responsibility. Your boundaries are the physical manifestation of your self-respect. They are the rules of engagement that teach the world how to treat you. They are the gentle fortress that protects your inner garden, allowing you to cultivate a life of peace, purpose, and authentic connection, rather than a life of exhaustion and resentment. They are the most loving thing you can do, not just for yourself, but for everyone who truly deserves to be in your life. There is a profound and overlooked power in emptiness. We are a culture obsessed with filling space, filling our calendars, our conversations, our minds. We fear the void. We see silence as awkwardness and absence as a sign of irrelevance. But this is a fundamental misreading of the laws of emotional and social physics. The most powerful forces in the universe are often invisible. Gravity, magnetism, love, their strength is felt not by what you see, but by the undeniable pull they exert. Your value operates in the same way. It is not always best demonstrated by your constant presence, but by the palpable weight of your absence. This is the principle that will revolutionize how you navigate your relationships. For too long, you have tried to prove your worth by doing more, by being more present, more helpful, more available. You believed your value was a measure of your tangible contributions. Now, you must learn that your greatest impact is often revealed in the space you leave behind when you consciously choose to step back. Creating distance is not an act of punishment. It is not about seeking revenge or making someone suffer. It is an act of clarity. When you are always there, always solving, always giving, your presence becomes a constant, like the air. People breathe it in without a second thought. They grow accustomed to it. They do not appreciate it because they have never had to experience a moment without it. Your value, no matter how immense, becomes invisible through its sheer consistency. But when you step back, you remove that constant. You create a vacuum. You create a quiet, empty space where your energy used to be. And it is in that void that the echo of your worth begins to resonate. Suddenly, they are forced to confront the reality of your contributions. The friend who always called you to vent now has to sit with her own problems, and in the silence, she may finally realize that you were not just a listener, but a pillar of support. The family member who took your emotional labor for granted now has to navigate their own dynamics, and they will feel the absence of the peacekeeper they never acknowledged. The partner who assumed you would always handle the details now has to manage them alone, and in that effort, they will begin to understand the sheer weight of what you carried so effortlessly. The colleague who relied on your insight now has to face a challenge without your guidance, and they will see that your input was not just helpful, but critical. This is not manipulation. It is revelation. You are not playing a game. You are allowing the truth to surface. The void you create forces a confrontation not with you, but with the reality of what they have lost. They begin to see the impact you had, the space you filled, and the silent sacrifices you made that they never fully acknowledged. What was once ignored becomes glaringly obvious. And in the wake of that realization, regret and appreciation often follow. They begin to understand that your presence was never just a given, it was a gift. This process is as much for you as it is for them. When you step back, you give yourself a new perspective. When you are too close to a situation, your vision becomes blurred. You overlook red flags. You make excuses for behavior that is not good for you. You cling to a version of a person that exists only in your hopes, not in reality. Distance provides clarity. It is like stepping away from a chaotic painting to finally see the whole picture. From this new vantage point, you can assess your relationships with honesty. Are they reciprocal? Are they healthy? Are they worth your continued investment? The space you create allows you to see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. Furthermore, this distance reveals who is truly meant to be in your life. When you step back, pay close attention to the response. Do they reach out, bridge the gap, and make a genuine effort to understand and reconnect? Their actions will show you that they recognize your value and are willing to work to keep you in their life. Or do they let the distance grow? Do they fade away, revealing that their connection to you was based on convenience, habit, or what you could provide for them? This can be a hard truth, but it is an essential one. The void you create acts as a filter. It separates the conditional from the committed. The people who were never truly invested will drift away, and you must let them. Their departure is not a loss, it is a clearing of space for something better. The ones who truly care will notice your absence and work to close the distance. These are the relationships to nurture. Stepping back is one of the most loving things you can do for yourself, and sometimes for them. In that space, growth happens. You grow by reclaiming your energy, rediscovering your priorities, and fortifying your self-respect. They grow by learning to see you, to appreciate you, and to understand that your presence in their life is a choice you make, not an obligation you owe. Do not be afraid of the emptiness. Do not fear the silence. It is not a sign of your irrelevance. It is the canvas upon which your true value will finally be painted in colors no one, including yourself, can ever ignore again. In a world drowning in noise, silence has become a radical act. We are conditioned to fill every void with words. We chatter to avoid awkwardness. We argue to prove our point. We explain to justify our existence. We have come to equate silence with weakness, passivity, or ignorance. But this is a profound misunderstanding of one of the most potent forces available to you. True power does not always shout. Often, it is found in the deliberate, unshakable calm of silence. Choosing silence is not the absence of a response. It is the response. It is a conscious, strategic, and powerful action that often communicates more depth, strength, and control than 1,000 words ever could. When you learn to wield silence, you stop reacting to the world and instead force the world to react to you. Think of the moments of tension in your life. An argument with a loved one, a criticism from a colleague, an unsolicited opinion from a stranger. Your instinct, honed by years of conditioning, is to defend, to retaliate, to explain. You engage in a battle of words, a frantic exchange of energy, where the goal is to win, to be right, to have the last word. But what do you truly accomplish? More often than not, you escalate the conflict, drain your own energy, and grant the other person the power to control your emotional state. They pull the string and you dance. Now, imagine a different response. In the face of provocation, instead of leaning in, you lean back. You hold your ground not with a torrent of words, but with a calm, unwavering silence. What happens? You immediately reclaim control. By refusing to engage on their terms, you deny them the conflict they are seeking. Your composure is a mirror, forcing them to confront the reflection of their own outbursts, their own words, their own energy, without the distraction of your reaction. Their aggression, meant to unsettle you, suddenly has nowhere to go. It hangs in the air, exposed and awkward. Your silence is a quiet declaration that says, I am so secure in my truth that I do not need to fight you. I will not allow your chaos to become my own. I value my peace more than I value winning this argument. This unspoken message is both disarming and profoundly powerful. They came seeking a battle, but you have offered them a mirror instead. Silence is also a tool of profound clarity. When you are not focused on formulating your next sentence, you are free to truly observe. You can listen not just to what is being said, but to what is being left unsaid. You notice the hesitation in someone's voice, the flicker of doubt in their eyes, the subtle tension in their posture. You move from being a participant in the drama to being an observer of the dynamic. This elevated perspective grants you an incredible advantage. You gather information, you assess the situation with emotional detachment, and you gain an insight that is impossible to achieve when you are lost in the fog of verbal warfare. The wisest person in the room is often not the one who speaks the most, but the one who listens with intent. In relationships, silence can be the most effective boundary you ever set. It is a way of communicating, "I will not participate in this toxic behavior," without resorting to a lengthy, draining confrontation. When someone is being disrespectful, passive-aggressive, or manipulative, a deliberate and calm silence can deliver a more chillingly effective message than an angry outburst. Your refusal to engage communicates disapproval without offering them the satisfaction of a reaction. It demonstrates that you will not lower yourself to their level. You are not giving them the fight they crave. You are simply refusing to enter the ring. This is an act of supreme self-respect. It is an assertion that says, "My energy is too valuable to be wasted on this." There is an undeniable mystique in silence. In a world where everyone overshares and broadcasts their every thought, the person who holds back, who chooses their words with care, and who is comfortable in the quiet, possesses an aura of intrigue and depth. By not revealing everything, you maintain a sense of unpredictability. People begin to wonder what you are thinking, what you truly feel. This curiosity shifts the dynamic in your favor. You are no longer desperately seeking to be understood. Others are now actively trying to understand you. You control the narrative not by speaking, but by creating a space that invites others to lean in. Choosing silence does not mean you are silencing your voice forever. It is not about becoming a doormat or hiding your truth. It is about understanding the difference between reacting and responding. It is about recognizing that sometimes the most powerful, intelligent, and strategic thing you can say is nothing at all. It is a discipline, a practice. It requires you to resist the primal urge to defend your ego. It requires you to sit with discomfort. But as you master it, you will find it is one of the greatest sources of your inner strength. It conserves your energy, sharpens your awareness, and commands a level of respect that shouting can never achieve. Silence isn't empty. It is full of power. There is a fundamental heartbreaking flaw in the logic of chasing attention. Attention that is fought for is never authentic. It is a prize won in a battle of attrition, a temporary concession granted to quiet the noise, but it is not a genuine offering of the heart. To fight for someone's attention is to engage in a never-ending and soul-crushing struggle where, even if you win, you ultimately lose. You lose your dignity, you lose your peace, and you lose sight of the beautiful, powerful truth that you should never have to audition for a role in someone's life that you are already worthy of. Let's be honest about what the fight for attention truly is. It is a one-sided campaign fueled by your own time, your own energy, and your own emotions. You are the strategist, the executor, and the sole investor. You craft the perfect text, hoping for more than a one-word reply. You rearrange your schedule to be available at a moment's notice. You bite your tongue on your own needs to be the ever-accommodating, low-maintenance option. You become a detective, analyzing their social media, their moods, their silences, searching for clues about where you stand. You are constantly broadcasting, hoping they will finally tune into your frequency. This is not a relationship. It is a marketing campaign, and you are the product you are desperately trying to sell. This dynamic is unsustainable because it is built on a foundation of imbalance. It turns connection into a transaction where one person constantly gives and the other only takes. This isn't always because the other person is malicious or cruel. Often, it is simply because you have taught them that they do not have to invest. You have shown them, through your relentless effort, that you will do all the work. You have carried the entire weight of the connection for so long that they have forgotten it even has a weight. Why would they make an effort when you have proven, time and time again, that you will make enough for the both of you. The futility of this fight lies in a simple, unchangeable truth. You cannot force someone to value you. You cannot logic them into caring. You cannot strategize your way into their heart. Genuine connection is not a problem to be solved. It is a resonance to be felt. It flows effortlessly and mutually, or not at all. The more you push, the more you try to force that flow, the more you create resistance. Your neediness becomes a pressure that makes them pull away. Your constant pursuit, intended to bring them closer, paradoxically creates the very distance you are trying to overcome. You are running towards them with such intensity that you are scaring them away. This fight for attention is a profound act of self-abandonment. With every action you take to win their approval, you are sending a quiet, devastating message to yourself. Their validation is more important than my own peace. My desire to be seen by them is greater than my need to honor myself. You place your sense of self-worth into their hands, making it a fragile thing that can be shattered by their moods, their whims, or their indifference. You begin to measure your own value by the quality of their attention on any given day. A quick reply means you are worthy. A delayed response means you are not. You become a prisoner to their acknowledgement. Your emotional well-being rising and falling with the tides of their interest. Letting go of this fight is not an admission of defeat. It is a declaration of your sovereignty. It is the moment you stop trying to prove your value to others and begin the sacred work of recognizing it within yourself. It is the understanding that you are not a project to be fixed or a product to be sold. You are a complete, whole, and worthy individual. And the right people, the ones who are meant for you, will see that without you having to launch a campaign. When you stop fighting, you reclaim an ocean of energy. Think of all the hours spent analyzing, worrying, and strategizing. Imagine reinvesting that massive reserve of power back into your own life. You could learn a new skill, nurture your other friendships, build a business, create art, or simply rest. You stop pouring your life force into a barren desert and start watering your own garden. As your own life becomes more vibrant, more fulfilling, and more aligned with your own values, a beautiful irony unfolds. The confidence, authenticity, and self-assurance you cultivate are inherently magnetic. When you are no longer trying so hard, when you are comfortable in your own skin, when your focus is on your own happiness and progress, you radiate an energy that naturally draws others in. The moment you stop forcing someone to see you, you often become impossible to ignore. Free yourself from this exhausting cycle. Lay down your arms. The fight for attention is unwinnable because the prize is not worth the cost to your soul. True connection is not a battlefield. It is a sanctuary. And it is a sanctuary you can only enter when you stop fighting to get in and realize that you are, and always have been, a sacred space all by yourself. For your entire life, you may have been operating as a chaser. The chaser believes, consciously or not, that love, respect, and belonging are things that must be pursued, earned, and won. They see relationships as a race where they must prove they are fast enough, smart enough, or worthy enough to keep up. This mindset is the source of all the exhausting behaviors we have discussed. The fight for attention, the absence of boundaries, the fear of silence. The chaser's fundamental orientation to the world is one of striving. But there is another way to live, a way that is not defined by striving, but by alignment. This is the way of the chosen. To be chosen is not a passive state. It is not about sitting back and waiting for life to happen to you. It is the powerful magnetic result of a profound internal shift. It is the shift from seeking external validation to cultivating internal alignment. The chaser tries to become what they think others want. The chosen focuses on becoming the most authentic version of themselves, trusting that the right people and opportunities will naturally resonate with that authenticity. The chaser asks, "What can I do to make them like me?" The chosen asks, "Who do I need to become to be fully aligned with my own truth?" This is the great shift. It is the most significant transformation you will ever make in your personal life. It is the moment you stop looking outside for your worth and begin the sacred work of building it from within. When you live as a chaser, you project a version of yourself that is curated for approval. You become a chameleon, subtly changing your colors to match the desires of whomever you are trying to impress. You might quiet your bold opinions, hide your quirky passions, or downplay your intelligence to make someone else feel more comfortable. You are essentially offering a heavily edited, watered-down version of yourself, hoping it will be acceptable. But even if you succeed, what have you won? You have convinced someone to like a person who isn't really you. This creates a constant low-grade anxiety of being found out, and it is an exhausting performance to maintain. When you make the shift to being chosen, you give yourself permission to be unapologetically, authentically you. You embrace your flaws, you celebrate your strengths, and you speak your truth with quiet confidence. You stop trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for you. This genuineness is the most powerful magnet in the universe. It may not attract everyone. In fact, it will repel those who are not meant for you, but it will draw in the right people with an undeniable force. They will be chosen not by the performance you put on, but by the real person you are. This kind of connection is effortless, deep, and sustainable because it is built on a foundation of truth. The chaser operates from a mindset of scarcity. They believe that love and opportunity are limited resources that they must compete for. This fear of being alone, fear of being left behind, fear of inadequacy, is the fuel for their desperate pursuit. The chosen, however, operates from a mindset of abundance. They trust that what is meant for them will find its way to them. They understand that the universe is vast, and there are countless people, experiences, and opportunities that will align perfectly with their unique energy. This trust releases them from the fear that drives the chase. They can walk away from situations that are not right for them, not out of arrogance, but out of a calm assurance that something better, something more aligned, is waiting. This isn't blind faith. It is a deep knowing that comes from being securely rooted in their own self-worth. Chasing inevitably creates an imbalance of power. The person being pursued holds all the cards. You are in a constant state of auditioning, hoping they will choose you. This dynamic can leave you feeling powerless, undervalued, and perpetually anxious. Making the shift to being chosen restores that balance. It is not about seizing power over others, but about reclaiming power over yourself. When you stop chasing, you create a space of mutual respect. You are no longer seeking to be chosen by someone. You are participating in a process of mutual choosing. You are evaluating them just as much as they are evaluating you. You ask yourself, does this person's energy align with mine? Do they add value to my life? Do they respect my boundaries? You become an active participant in the creation of your relationships, not a passive applicant waiting for an acceptance letter. This shift transforms every relationship in your life. In romance, you stop chasing partners who are ambivalent or unavailable and start attracting those who see your worth and are ready to invest equally. In friendship, you stop overextending yourself for one-sided connections and cultivate a circle of friends who offer mutual support and respect. In your career, you stop trying to prove your worth in toxic environments and begin to attract opportunities that align with your values and recognize your talents. The journey to being chosen begins with one courageous act: choosing yourself. It is the decision to honor your own needs, values, and boundaries, even if it means walking away from people or situations you once thought you couldn't live without. It is a declaration that you are enough, not because of what you do for others, but simply because of who you are. When you make this choice, you send a ripple out into the universe. You set a new standard. You become a person who is not available for the chase, but is ready to be met in a place of authenticity and mutual respect. And that is a shift that changes everything. The shift from being a chaser to being chosen is not a mystical event that happens overnight. It is a practical, intentional process of self-creation, the result of a series of small, conscious choices you make every single day. Over time, these choices build you into a person of such solid self-worth and authentic radiance that you naturally attract the life you deserve. This is the work. It is not always easy, but it is the most rewarding work you will ever do, a journey of becoming a truly magnetic self. This journey begins with reclaiming the art of self-care as a radical act of self-respect. We have been taught to see it as a selfish indulgence, but it is in fact a revolutionary act of self-preservation. You cannot pour from an empty cup or command respect from the world if you are running on fumes. Foundational care is non-negotiable. You must protect your sleep as if it were a precious treasure. Move your body in ways that feel joyful rather than punishing, and nourish yourself with food that grants you energy, not drains it. These are not luxuries. They are the bedrock of your physical and mental well-being, for a depleted body cannot house a powerful spirit. Simultaneously, you must become a curator of your inputs. Your mind is a garden, and you must be ruthless about what you plant in it. Unfollow accounts that make you feel inadequate, turn off the noise that fills you with anxiety, and disengage from the gossip that lowers your vibration. Instead, actively seek out books, podcasts, and conversations that expand your mind and soothe your soul. In a world demanding constant connection, you must also schedule solitude as a power move, creating time to be alone with your own thoughts, allowing your intuition to speak and your emotions to settle. The next layer of this transformation is to build unwavering self-trust by honoring the commitments you make to yourself. For years, you may have been breaking these sacred promises, and each broken promise is a crack in the foundation of your self-respect. It is time to become a person of your word. To do this, you must start impossibly small. Do not promise to conquer a mountain. Promise only to take the first step. The goal is not the grand achievement, but the creation of an unbroken chain of kept promises. Each time you follow through, you cast a vote for the new, reliable version of yourself. Keep a journal of these wins, creating tangible proof that you are becoming a person who can be trusted. This physical evidence will override the old internal narrative of self-doubt and build a fortress of self-belief. To truly move forward, you must also master the skill of forgiveness, releasing yourself from the weight of the past. Holding on to resentment is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. The only person you are punishing is yourself. Forgiveness is not for them, it is for you. It is a ritual of release. You can write out your anger and pain in a letter you never send, and then burn it, visualizing the emotional weight turning to ash and drifting away. Even more critically, you must forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for not knowing better, for the boundaries you didn't set, and for the times you betrayed your own needs. You did the best you could with what you knew. Thank your past self for carrying you this far, and then release her from the burden of her guilt. Finally, you must become a courageous editor of your life by learning to let go. Growth is as much about what you are willing to subtract as what you add. You must conduct a life audit, taking honest inventory of the people and activities that consume your energy and asking if they lift you up or weigh you down. Seeing the truth on paper makes it undeniable. Then comes the hardest part. You must choose yourself, even when it's difficult. Walking away from a toxic friendship or a soul-crushing job is a painful but profound declaration of your worth. In these moments, you must remember that you are choosing your future over your history, trusting that by releasing what is heavy, you are making space for something better to arrive. This is the practical alchemy of transformation. It is the quiet, consistent work of showing up for yourself day after day that will ultimately turn you from someone who needs validation into someone who is validation. You become the magnetic self. We have arrived at the end of this journey, but it is also the true beginning of your own. We began with a simple, radical premise. The moment you stop chasing, you start rising. We have journeyed through the intricate landscapes of self-respect, the architecture of boundaries, the profound power of absence and silence, and the great, transformative shift from being a chaser to being chosen. Now there is nothing left to do but to live this truth. It is time to stop just understanding the philosophy and start embodying it, becoming a living testament to your own inherent worth. You are not here to chase. You never were. That frantic pursuit was born from a collective amnesia, a forgetting of the fundamental truth that your value is not something to be earned, proven, or won in the estimation of others. It is your birthright. It is the innate, unchangeable, and sacred essence of who you are. The chase was a distraction, a noisy and exhausting detour that kept you from the quiet, powerful work of remembering your own magnificence. To live this truth is to carry yourself differently. It is a shift in your posture, both literally and metaphorically. You will walk into rooms no longer scanning for approval, but rooted in a calm and self-contained confidence. Your voice will carry a new resonance, not because it is louder, but because it is no longer trembling with the need to please or the fear of being misunderstood. Your presence will command a quiet respect, not because you demand it, but because you emanate it. You will become a person whose yes is deeply valued because their no is respected and clear. Embodying this truth means you finally understand that relationships are meant to be a place of mutual uplift, not a project of self-sacrifice. You will no longer see one-sided connections as a challenge to be conquered, but as a misalignment to be released. You will stop trying to convince others of your worth, and instead focus on whether they are worthy of your precious time and energy. You will choose your connections not from a place of loneliness or fear, but from a place of wholeness, seeking not to be completed, but to be complemented. Let them feel your absence. This is no longer a tactic, it is now a natural consequence of your new life. As you pour your energy into your own growth, your own passions, and your own peace, you will naturally pull back from the draining dynamics of the past. Your absence will create a void, and in that void they will be left with nothing but the undeniable truth of the value you brought. And when they realize what they have lost, you will not be waiting by the phone, hoping for their return. You will be miles down your own beautiful path, having already grown into someone they can no longer afford to lose. This is the ultimate promise of this journey. The world does not respond to your pleas, it responds to your standards. When you stop begging for a seat at the table and begin building your own, you will find that a line has formed, filled with people who want to know how you built it. When you stop chasing the butterflies of external validation, you will find that by tending to your own garden, the most beautiful ones come and land gently on your shoulder, drawn in by the world you have cultivated. You are not here to diminish yourself just to be noticed. You are here to be chosen. Not because you fought for recognition, but because your presence naturally commands it and your value speaks for itself. This journey of being chosen begins and ends with the most important choice you will ever make. The choice to value, honor, and love yourself unconditionally and without apology. Live this truth. Walk in this power. The chase is over. Your ascent has just begun.